At the end of the day, all they care about is that you win. So until the Magic find their way, they must find a way. Today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is January 4th. It will be January 5th, 2026. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Credentialed member of the Orlando Magic Media since the 2012 season, broadcasting today from the Kia Center. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, a 135-128 win over the Indiana Pacers is not the way the Orlando Magic typically like to do things. But until they figure out whatever's going on with their defense, they're going to have to find a way. And that's exactly what they did. And what they didn't do on Friday and what they haven't done consistently, by finding a way still matters. We'll get to that. Plus, the odd lineups that worked out so well for Jace Richardson. We're going to debunk some things coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You can make Locked On Magic even bigger part of your day by being one of our Orlando Magic dailies, our everydayers. That means you're listening 5 days a week. That means you're listening when we do our weekend episodes. That means we're part of your regular podcast rotation. That means we are your first listen of the day. We want to thank you for making the Locked On Magic community such a great community. And we want to thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. It's your team every day. Quite simply, this is not how the Orlando Magic win. Like, don't make this a habit. Don't make games like this a habit, because even though Orlando's offense is significantly better, and even though Orlando played a really, really good offensive game, one of their best offensive games of the season. I'm going to look up the stats here real fast. A 133.7 offensive rating. The Magic aren't going to sustain that for very long. Yeah, they're a better offensive team, but that's not who they are. In fact, let's run back this stat, a 125.7 defensive rating for the Magic. That is the 11th time this season the Magic have given up more than 120 points per 100 possessions. Look, offenses are up around the league, so this isn't so crazy. They gave up 120 points per 100 possessions just 8 times last year. We're not even halfway through the season. And certainly recently, especially, the Magic's defense has been a huge issue. So let's not pretend everything is hunky-dory in the Magic Kingdom just because you won a game. Won a game against, yes, by record, the worst team in the Eastern Conference right now. Things are not all happy here in the Magic Kingdom. Things are not all good. But the important thing is that you win. That's what the Magic failed to do Friday night. That's what the Magic failed to do Friday night in Chicago. That's what they failed to do Monday night in Toronto. That's what they've struggled to do throughout the course of the season, even in games where they seem to have control. The floor would just drop in the fourth quarter, and they would lose that thing that got them to the finish line or got them near the finish line, put them in a position to win. And that's not what happened in this game. Orlando had 34 assists against 7 turnovers. They moved the ball with 2 players with more than 5 assists, 4 players with 4 or more assists. They kept the ball moving, even in the fourth quarter as they were trying to force feed Paolo a little bit. They moved quicker. They got him into his action sooner. They weren't forcing shots. And so all those lessons, all those things that the Magic needed to do that have cost them games, whether nearly cost them the Utah game, whether it cost them the Toronto game, the Chicago game, whatever, the Magic made the plays to keep the offensive pressure going. They found a way. And as our friend Ian Malcolm likes to say, life finds a way. Good teams find a way. And right now, the Magic are treading water. Again, we're going to talk a little bit more about this problem tomorrow. But the Magic are treading water right now. And until they can find their identity and find their formula and find who they are, and we can have all these debates about whose fault it is, it's everybody's. the Magic still have to put up wins. And I will say this, the saving grace right now is that the Magic aren't getting blown out. The Magic are in every game. We're disappointed because the Magic have a chance to win all these games. You'd almost rather them get blown out so they get that lesson beat into them. And you just say, oh, well, they were nowhere near it tonight. Orlando looked like they were going to get run out of the gym early in this game. They fell behind by as much as 12 points in the first quarter. Defense was non-existent. And then they found their defensive rhythm a little bit. A 41-22 second quarter, the Magic simply said, yeah, we sat down and guarded. Jamal Mosley said after the game, we got ticked off, and he didn't use the word tick. We got angry about it, and we went out and defended, forced turnovers, got in transition, did the things that are essential to the Magic having success as a team, as a group, fighting for what they hope will be a championship and a deep playoff run. You're going to have games like this. Again, like, it's a long season. There are 82 games. And I tell you, I tell people all the time, don't obsess over one game. Just don't obsess over one game. Anything can happen in a single game. There are 82 of these things. And so you're looking a lot more for trends. You're looking a lot more for what's consistent throughout the course of a season. And obviously, like right now, nothing's consistent. Right now, the Magic could have a great 3 offensive quarters and then die in the fourth quarter. They could be really strong on defense and that offense drops and their defense disappears. Their defense could be really good one night like it was last Wednesday against Indiana, or really bad like it was tonight against Indiana. You don't know what you're going to get from the Magic right now. And so until you do, find a way. Just find a way to win. Learn your lessons while winning. If the game needs you to score 130 points, get to 130 points. Find a way to get the stops, which the Magic did in the fourth quarter. Late in the fourth quarter, up by 3. They get back-to-back 3-pointers from Paolo, Banchero, and Tristan da Silva. Extend the lead out. I think they got it to like 8 or 9 points at that point. And that's what put the game away, because winning and losing is a very, very fine line. And the Magic got the stops that they needed when it mattered, in clutch time, at the end of the game. That's not good enough. Let's make that clear. If the Magic are a championship level team, if the Magic are playing to a standard, that's not good enough. The Magic have to be better. They must be better. They must hold themselves to a higher standard. Again, it's not good enough to just be good. You've got to be great, and you've got to be great every single night. But there are going to be games like this. There are going to be moments like this. There are going to be stretches in the season like this. We're going to talk a little bit more about that tomorrow, I think. But the stretch isn't as panic-inducing as it should be, or as it feels like right now. But while you're going through it, while you're trying to figure yourself out and deal with injuries and the monotony of the season and the ups and downs that come in this 82-game journey we're taking together, you still got to find your way. You still got to find a way. And so if it means that you're going to lean on Paolo Banchero to get downhill and make decisions, you trust him to do so. If it means you're going to look to move the ball and share the ball and find that flow, whatever flow that is successful for you, you lean into it, because that's what the game calls for. This is not an impressive win. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise. Indiana gave up a 17-0 run in the second quarter, flipped a 12-point lead into a 5-point deficit for the Pacers. Orlando zoomed ahead, led by as much as 13. Indiana missed a lot of open shots, and the Pacers finished shooting 15 for 34 from 3, which is 44.1%. The Magic matched them at 15 for 32. None of that seems normal, and the Magic and Pacers are seemingly incapable of playing normal games. But Orlando is the one that came out on top. And again, we're having a very different conversation if they lose, if they miss some of those shots that they missed, if they weren't able to get some of those stops that they got, if they weren't able to adjust and find that thing to hold on to and win. But I'll say this. I think I've said this before, but I will say this. It is indeed a skill. It is indeed a skill to win when you don't have your best. It is indeed a skill to be able to just grind out a win and grit your teeth and win when it feels like nothing is working, when your identity isn't working. I say this all the time. The regular season is about your identity and what you can rely on consistently. Sometimes you're searching for what you can rely on, and you just got to grab hold of it when you find it. The Magic did that, and believe it or not, that is a characteristic of a good team. The Pacers want to play this way. Like, the Pacers get a good offensive game, one of the worst offenses in the league. They get a good offensive game. They want to get up and down. They want to push the tempo. They want to play this way. The Magic found a way to beat the Pacers at their own game. And so you take that any way that you can. The Magic defeat the Pacers 135-127. I know my run sheet is wrong. Take it where you can get it. Because the Magic were searching in this one. They were searching. What the Magic turned to find it, coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the first time, trying something new can feel like a challenge. But with PrizePicks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure football matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never slows down, and PrizePicks lets you stay in control. PrizePicks is the daily fantasy app that makes watching sports even more exciting by letting you build lineups based on player projections. No drafts, no waiting, no complicated salary caps, no confusing scoring systems, no dealing with the sharks. Just pick more or less and play your way. Getting started with PrizePicks is quick and simple. The app is really easy to navigate. Really, the only thing that's overwhelming is the choices between the leagues, the players, the stats that are available. You will find a pick that you like. You will find a group that you like, and you will find a group that you are confident you can win out. The new early payouts feature is also a game changer. If a player starts hot, you can cash out before the game ends and ensure that you get that victory. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day. And we want to thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. It's great. You get access to an ad-free audio for Locked On Magic, compatible with all the major podcasting apps. I know that's something that a lot of people ask me about. You also get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord, which allows you to talk directly to me. You can ask me questions during the game. I'm providing my 3 thoughts, my non-public 3 thoughts. I'm not posting them anywhere else after every quarter of the Magic season, or after the 3 quarters in the middle of the game. I don't. After the game, I'm a chicken with my head cut off. But if you want to talk to me directly during games, this is the place to go. Go to lockedonmagic.supercast.com. That's lockedonmagic.supercast.com, or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. The Orlando Magic were searching. Let's not pretend otherwise here. It's been a rough few weeks. 7-7 in December. I believe 7-7 in December. Teams slipped considerably on defense, slipped considerably with their rebounding. They're struggling to kind of grasp who they are. There's injuries that have kept players in and out of the lineup. It's been rough. And while there's been plenty of positives and so plenty of reason to be optimistic, I think everyone tends to lean into negativity. It's just kind of our natural state. There's a lot of reasons to still believe in this team, and we will talk about that on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. But very, very clearly, Jamal Mosley was looking to mix things up a little bit and looking to try and find a way to get this team going, to spark this team in some way, especially after they struggled in the first quarter, especially after the defense just did not seem to have it. Mosley was really hunting for something that worked. Now, look, like Paolo still got his regular minutes. Anthony Black still got his regular minutes. Desmond Bane got his regular minutes. Maybe they took Wendell Carter a little bit out or a little bit earlier so he could play more with the bench groups. a lot, like the main guys are the main guys. And I would say this, like very early in the game, like Paolo, Bain, and Black were all struggling to finish at the rim. And we're just all struggling to kind of get themselves going offensively. And the Magic's shooting was really poor. And it was just like, well, there's nothing really complicated here. Like, yeah, the defense needs to be better. They're struggling in transition. Their communication's terrible. But it still comes down to, like, this team needs their best players to play well. And then we'll get to the box score here in a minute and explain how they turn that around. But the Magic went to a lineup that I would not expect them to turn to. The Magic went to a grouping that shouldn't work. To be perfectly honest, just shouldn't work. And that is playing Jace Richardson and Tyus Jones together. That group had played only, that duo, often criticized, often, hand-wrung about or debated among Magic fans, among the sickos in Magic fandom. I get a lot of stuff about Tyus. That duo's played 21 minutes together. I don't know what the leverage of those minutes were, but the Magic won those minutes 62-58 in 21 minutes. As you would expect, terrible defense, pretty good offense. Two offensive guys who Jace is a great scorer, Tyus is a great distributor and kind of game manager. Not surprising that is the result. And so the Magic, again, were just searching. Jace Richardson got the first call off the bench. He was essentially playing the backup point guard minutes, or looked like he was going to play the backup point guard minutes until Tyus checked in late in the first quarter. And then they both checked in at the beginning of the second. It just looked like they were searching. And as has been the case every time Jace Richardson gets minutes, every time he gets meaningful minutes, every time he gets these opportunities, Jace Richardson delivered. Jace Richardson, because he is such an energetic offensive player, made an impact. And he made that impact even with Tyus Jones as the defender next to him. Orlando won the first 4.5 minutes of the quarter, 15-3, I believe. Orlando went on a 17-0 run with essentially those two as the guards on the floor. Indiana even tried to go big. They tried to put some bigger players in, took TJ McConnell out, put 4 forwards on the floor to try and force, or put 3 forwards on the floor to try and force Jace Richardson or Tyus Jones to defend Andrew Nembhard and Ben Sheppard. Trying to make sure a poor defender was defending one of their lead ball handlers. And even then, it didn't work. Overall, Jace Richardson was plus 14, team high plus 14. Tyus Jones, plus 11. They won their minutes running away. And ultimately, Tyus Jones hit the 3 that put the Magic ahead, essentially for good. The Pacers did take a brief lead in the fourth quarter. And Jace Richardson hit several big shots and made several big plays down the stretch. I'm not going to sit here either as a good defender. Like, again, I think Jace tries. I think his effort on that end is abundant. I think he is a player, and I've said this a million times. He needs to play. They need to find a way to play. They need a plan for him to play. Maybe when the team is healthy, whenever that happens, I think it's important that there is a plan to keep Jace Richardson involved. But he made an impact in this game, making several big shots as the Magic built their lead in the third and fourth quarter. And these odd lineups and just getting him out there, just throwing him into the fire seemed to work for this team. Right now, the Magic are searching. Like, I have no other way to explain it other than Jamal Mosley is hunting for something. The energy is just off. The intensity, the focus is just off. And as I've kind of explained to some people, it kind of feels like right now Jamal Mosley is taking a test, a multiple choice test, and every answer is wrong. Every answer is the wrong answer, or not quite the correct answer. You're supposed to do those multiple choice tests. Pick the most accurate answer. Well, what does that mean? There's just no good answers to what ails the Magic. Their defense, their offense is broken. Well, throw Tyus Jones in there, throw Jace Richardson in there. Well, that breaks your defense a little bit. Again, Magic didn't defend well. Let's take a look at their net ratings in this game. Orlando with Tyus Jones on the floor had a 103.4 defensive rating. A lot of that coming in the second quarter. Jace Richardson, the Magic had a 107.4 defensive rating. So there is something to it. Like those two fought really hard on defense. Again, granted, a lot of that built in that second quarter run when the Magic were the only team to play defense for any extended period of time. Every team, both teams scored at least 25 points in every quarter except for the Pacers in the second. And so it's just about finding what works. And the Magic right now, and again, we could argue should Noah Penda be playing. Jonathan Isaac, I thought, gave some great minutes. We'll get to the box score here in a minute. It's just about finding what works. And unfortunately, like some of it's arranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Like the Magic need their bench to play well. And they didn't play well in Chicago. They played well tonight. Big reason why the Magic won this game is the bench took care of its job, took care of its business in the second quarter. Pacers bench largely didn't. They did in the fourth quarter when they came back and took a very brief lead, and then it was just a back and forth with starters, and the Magic starters beat the Pacers starters. I mean, it's not super complicated here. But the Magic are searching. And so, again, maybe this is Jace Richardson's time. Maybe this is when Jace Richardson takes control and takes hold of a role on this team. Played well enough tonight to do so. And again, like whatever it takes to win, you just got to do it. Let's go through the box score then. Let's talk about what we saw from the Magic individually coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Quo. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has got to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. Quo makes everything so simple. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps so details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's Quo, QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Let's close out today's show as we do after every game by going through the final box scores. The Orlando Magic defeat the Indiana Pacers 135-127. Sorry, I typed it wrong on my rundown there. We're going to leave that up and deal with the Medill F forever. A really, really strong game from Paolo Banchero. It has been now 4 straight games where Paolo has looked like Paolo. And I do mean that. He looks like Paolo offensively, at least. 28 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 9 for 18, 3 for 5 from 3, 7 for 9 from the foul. And only those 2 missed free throws, I think they came in the first quarter, were really the only blemish in his game. Only had 1 turnover, just really seems more in control of what he wants to do, more decisive with what he wants to do. Still gets caught and trapped a few times, still gets caught in the air a few times, still telegraphs some of his moves a little bit, but he is attacking quicker, moving quicker, moving the ball quicker, like everything we've wanted to see from him. It's still a work in progress. I'm not saying he's perfect yet, but he has made some real progress on that front. And again, like he's scoring. Like ultimately what the Magic need from Paolo is they need him to be a metronome and to be a constant scorer and constant offensive threat. And that's happening. Only issue with Paolo's game is just how rough he is on defense still. And maybe that's the last bit that's going to come from the groin, just being able to move laterally. But he still looks just a little bit slow on that end. Like I'm not the biggest fan of Paolo playing center for super long. I think it's kind of a Draymond thing where you want to play it in mixed up situations. Paolo really doesn't look like he can guard perimeter players. Like Pascal Siakam had 20 points in the third quarter. He scored 34 points in the game, 14 for 21 shooting, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Just beating Paolo off the dribble. I mean, look, the Magic switch a lot, so where you play him may not matter so much. But the defense has got to catch up. And my only complaint about Paolo, like I've defended Paolo in a lot of areas. I think that he's gotten a lot better. He's playing a lot more confidently. Like he's starting to kind of find his groove again. The only area that I would really criticize Paolo, or not criticize, let's say challenge. The only area I would challenge Paolo right now is with Franz out, with Jalen out. Him and Desmond Bane are the leaders on this team. You've got to set the tone for what this team's going to do. So when you move the ball, when you move it quickly, everybody else is going to follow that energy. When you get down and you defend, when you sit down and guard, everyone else is going to follow that energy. And right now, Paolo's defensive energy just isn't good enough and isn't the quality that it needs to be. And teams are attacking him. Teams are hunting him out a little bit. Everything else has fallen back into place. So maybe this is just the last phase of him coming back from the groin injury is getting that lateral quickness back. And he was not super laterally quick anyway, but the effort and the attention to detail just needs to be a little bit higher. And again, I challenge him because he is a leader, whether he wants to be or not. He is a leader. He's got to bring that fight on the defensive end. But again, overall, I don't have a lot to complain about Paolo. He is becoming everything we've wanted him to become. He's not going to end up having the season we wanted him to have because of the way it started. All NBA is probably thrown out the window unless a lot of guys get hurt. But he is starting to do everything that everybody has asked of him and has been doing it pretty consistently now for the last 2, maybe 3 weeks of the season. Again, it's got to start impacting winning a little bit more and you've got to finish games. He finished this game in a way that he didn't Monday in Toronto or didn't Friday in Chicago. Desmond Bane also a really strong game. 31 points, 12 for 17 shooting, 3 for 6 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. He was everywhere in this game. Really, really loved his effort. Got to the basket, didn't do the scoop layup, got to the rim. Magic were really good at attacking him. They had 60 points in the paint. They had 70, I believe, in the game Wednesday in Indianapolis. Just really keeping the ball moving, keeping it popping, just not standing still, not settling, just playing with the right energy. And this is going to be the case even when they're healthy. When Desmond Bane makes shots, when he scores 30-plus points, they're just going to be hard to beat because they have enough offensive weapons elsewhere. And their defense, not tonight, but their defense should be good enough to get them stops. And so when Dez gets to 30 points, when he's making 3 or 4 threes, that means everything is working. That means everything for this team is working. So a really nice game from Desmond Bane. Also a really nice game from Anthony Black. 27 points, 8 for 16 shooting, 3 for 7 from 3, 8 for 10 from the foul line, 10 assists. I want to talk a little bit more about his passing. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on Orlando Magic Hub in the next few days. And Anthony Black continues to grow by leaps and bounds. And the scoring has become consistent. Like we expect 20 points per game from Anthony Black now. He's getting to the rim. He's really confident with his pull-up jumper now. Like his jump shot has just taken a complete 180 from something that you were scared of to something that you're like, oh, this guy has it. Like this is part of his game. Honestly, the only thing I have been worried about lately is all the offensive attention and all the offensive focus has led to some slipping on defense. Like he just doesn't have the same energy and intensity on defense that he's had before, but he's just got so much more on his plate offensively. I think like a lot of AB's issues right now, if there are, maybe you don't think there are. I think there are. I think there's still areas he's growing, but a lot of these issues are like, oh, I'm learning how to play with this offensive freedom. I'm learning how to play like, oh, I get to choose which jumpers I take, which shots I take. I get to kind of pick where I spend my energy. I have to spend a little bit more energy on the offensive end now, so I have less energy on the defensive end. Learning how to manage that, that's where AB is still growing. And so there's growing pains. And the growing pain right now is that his defense is taking a little bit of a slip. He still has his moments. He still picks his spots a little bit. But the Magic need a stronger point of attack defender with Jalen Suggs out, and Jalen Suggs will be out for a little bit with the knee sprain, or the knee contusion, knee ligament contusion. The Magic they need some more consistency on that end for maybe, especially because he's going to have that responsibility. So it's finding that balance, and it's okay to struggle with that. Like, honestly, like, this is what you do. This is what young players do. They learn how to play by doing. They make some mistakes. They learn what they need to do. They get better in the offseason. Like, these are all good experience and all good things for Anthony Black eventually. Again, he's finding it again here. Wendell Carter, I gotta speak about how good Wendell Carter was. 18 points, 12 rebounds, 6 for 10 shooting, 5 for 8 from line. So left some points on the board, 4 assists. I thought he defended really well. Micah Potter had 11 points. Jay Huff had 11 points. So, we can debate how strong his defense was, but Wendell Carter just makes so many things work. Like, his ability to switch on the perimeter, his ability to be able to switch and keep guys on the perimeter. The Magic we're going through their defensive Rolodex and trying to find the right defensive game plan for this game and what was going to work for them. It's rare that Wendell's in the wrong spot, no matter what defense the team's playing. Like, it is exceptionally rare. And again, just seeing him be more aggressive on offense. Like, again, they're not running plays for him. Like, there's one play where I was like, oh, Wendell's got Ben Shepherd on him. Get the ball to that side, clear it out, let him post up. Like, the Magic aren't doing that. Like, that's just not how they run. That's not how they run him. But he just fills those gaps. He's attacking the glass. Like, when he gets the ball with an opportunity to drive, he's enough a three-point shooter that teams respect that shot. He's able to get by guard, get by bigs who are flying by him, and get to the rim and take advantage of space when it's there. Carter's had a really good year. It's been a little up and down. Like, he still has his bad games. He still has his moments that he's not what the Magic need, but still a lot of good. And tonight was a very good game for Wendell Carter. A lot to really like about him. Not a lot coming off the bench. The Magic got 12 points from Jace Richardson, 5 for 9 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3. Again, we're seeing Jace said after the game, like, it feels like game 60. He's like, his head is spinning. He's a rookie. Like I always say, like I tell people, rookies are bad. You take what you can get from rookies. Magic are getting a lot from Jace Richardson. And again, I continue to say this, like, good things do happen when Jace Richardson's on the floor. Like, I am a Tyus Jones defender. I think that a lot of fans are making Tyus Jones a scapegoat or blaming Tyus Jones for things that are not his fault. But Jace Richardson, I think, has played his way into a bigger role and into more consistent minutes than what he's been getting. And again, tonight was another example of how Jace is a gamer. Like, he shows up to play and does a lot of things that you're going to need to do that winning basketball games. Whatever defense you're losing, and you do lose a lot on defense, he's going to fight, he's going to scrap, he's going to try and make plays, which I think is ultimately a good thing. Tristan Silva in the starting lineup scored 10 points, 4 for 8 shooting. Not a lot to say about Tristan. Got a good 12 minutes from Jonathan Isaac. He had 4 points. Made his only shot. It was a dunk. Solid defense overall. Not any defensive stats, but solid defense from him. And that was about it for the Magic off the bench. Orlando just had this crazy good offensive game. 56% shooting, 15 for 32 from 3, 26 for 34 from the line. Missed 8 free throws, but good to see the Magic get to the line 34 times. That's a constant theme for them. When they're able to get to the line a lot, that means they're aggressive. That means they're getting downhill. That means they're getting the defense on their back heels. Indiana only had 21 free throw attempts. Indiana does a decent job getting the line. They're about a little bit above league average. But they shot 55.2%, 44.1% from 3, 15 for 34. They turned the ball over 11 times. Orlando only 7 turnovers. Orlando had 18 points off those 11 turnovers, and that probably is what decided this game. Like I said, as we're being counted down here at the Kia Center, like I said, this was not pretty. This is not Orlando Magic basketball. This is not the way the Magic need to play. But they got the job done. And at the end of the day, I'd rather be talking about getting the job done in a win than recounting the same ways the Magic are losing all these games. None of that has gone away. And the Magic still have to improve and get better at that. And they're searching for it. They clearly are. But if you can do that while winning, that's better. That's ideal. You're obviously in a part of the schedule right now where you should be able to pick up wins. Like this back-to-back coming up is not going to be easy. Washington's playing a lot better. Brooklyn's off. Brooklyn doesn't play again until Wednesday. They're playing a lot better. Their defense is legit. They play hard, and the Magic are going to have to match that effort against both teams to come out with wins, but they should. They're good enough. They're healthy enough. They should get wins. They should get a win on this road trip. They should do more than split this road trip. They should win both these games. but they're not going to do that unless they continue to fix the issues that have plagued them for the last few weeks. The Orlando Magic defeat the Indiana Pacers 135-127. They're back in action Tuesday against the Washington Wizards. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the fun places you download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can check us out on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. We want to thank you for being part of the Locked On Magic community. If you want to take your involvement to the next step, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Magic ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonmagic.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen NBA Game Night on Locked On NBA, where I'm sure they will ignore this game because we don't really want them to see this one. It wasn't Magic basketball, but that's okay. We will take the win nonetheless. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow because I want to talk about why panic is the wrong response to what the Magic are doing. While there's a lot to work on, they've been here before. We'll dive into the history books on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.